candidate. Suzanne Prentiss is running for re-election to the New Hampshire State Senate for District 5. Sue, we welcome you.
Okay, so I'm here, but it's working.
Yeah, there
Woo.
you are.
Oh, nice to see everybody. As Martha said, my name is Sue Prentiss, and I am running for re-election to the New Hampshire State Senate, representing the 15 wonderful communities here in District 5. And I think my experience 2 weeks ago with Deb Merrill Sands has me well prepared for her timing capabilities. So thank you. So I want to just talk briefly about what I bring to the Senate and some of the experiences that I've had and how that shapes my representation for you. I'm a mom, I am a paramedic, and I'm a longtime community leader. And as a mother, my daughter Phoebe, who's 27 years old, will not have the same reproductive rights, reproductive freedom that I had when I was her age. And I think that's really important when you think about not just her, but all of our women and all of our families. And what we know is that when the Supreme Court ruled in the Dobbs decision, they effectively moved the power from the federal level to all the states to basically make the decisions. And we have not affirmatively protected the rights of women up to 24 weeks. And we'll deal with the 24-week question after that, first abortion ban ever in the state of New Hampshire. So I'm vigilant on those issues because I know the power is in the State House and we have to keep our finger on that at every moment. I also want to point out or want to just share that, my daughter went to public school and public education. These are two really top line issues for us. We all know is in jeopardy. It is important to me. And every day as a member of the Senate Education Committee, I am fighting so that teachers can teach, so that children and young adults can read the books that they want at school, to keep public dollars in the public school system, and to let kids be kids and play sports. So those are the things that, as a mom, I have not only experienced, but bring that value to the State House. Secondly, as a paramedic, I spent over 30 years working in between the field and emergency departments. And one of the things that we're taught in emergency medicine is to identify problems pretty quickly and then work to fix them in a systematic way. And you still have to take input, even in these emergency situations. And as I have been in the Senate, one of the problems that we're always talking, we rightfully so, we're always talking about property taxes and the fact that we have an upside down system and it's just squeezing people. So one of the problems that I worked on that ambulance services and municipalities wanted me to, and we were effective, is getting Medicaid reimbursement up to 100% of Medicare in this state for ambulance services for the first time in 17 years, went from 38% to 100. What does this mean to property tax rates? Well, that downshifting of those Medicaid bills, which was is the second highest payer in the state, no longer goes on the backs of community taxpayers. Right, it's on the Medicaid program. So this is a great thing for us, a problem identified and solved. Last but not least, I'm a community leader, 12 years on the city council, 2 years as mayor. And what I understand is that school boards, select boards, and city councils actually know their communities best, and they know that we're doing. And at the legislature, we have to be very careful about not overreaching into your business. Why is it that we as city councils can vote, or town councils can vote on whether you can play Keno or not, but we can pass a law or not pass a law that would allow us to vote on whether we wanted to have legislation that would allow communities to adopt an ordinance to put a recreation fee on hotel rooms that they could $2 a night that they could put into a fund to cover infrastructure. It's completely imbalanced. I respect the local opinions. I carry that with me to the city council, from the city council to the state. And I'm going to try to move along to just a couple quick things here that I want.
One more minute.
One more?
1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. All right,
Yep.
Quickly. In the last year, 14 bills filed, 12 passed. Because, and Karen talked about compromise, this is the name of the game. When you can compromise, you do. Two of the bills that I am most proud of, one has to do with basically requiring private insurance carriers to fund a prosthetic device, an activity-specific prosthetic device, so kids can actually play soccer or skate, whatever the sport might be, that have been affected by limb loss because of cancer, because of a congenital defect, or because of trauma. They weren't doing that before. They are doing it now. And the second bill I want to point out, really important to our pediatric community, is having this monoclonal antibody available for families to choose for their babies and toddlers so that they can be protected against RSV, which can be a deadly respiratory virus. We didn't have that. And in an anti-vax environment, I was able to work. Now, this is not a vaccine, but they were suspicious. I was able to work to get this across the finish line to make this available. So I am pleased and honored to be running for re-election. I hope to go back and be your state senator and to continue to fight for reproductive rights, for public education, for access to healthcare, for building systems of care, all the things and much more that I'd love to do. Deb, I'm going to defer to you and thank you for your wonderful timing once again.
Thank you. You wrapped up perfectly.
I'm so glad my camera's working.
Beautiful.
Well, the good news is that the first question we want to ask you is to tell us about the accomplishments you're most proud of. And you did tell us the top two, so this gives you a chance to elaborate a little bit more.
Thank you so much, Deb. And, I talk about these two bills from this last session, but in the overall 2 years that I've been in, the highlight of all of this is working as the one of the prime sponsors of the Momnibus, which was a package, an extensive package focused on protecting moms and babies, really focusing on maternal health care. We had a situation in this state, we have it throughout New England, where we're seeing mortality rate for moms actually on the rise in this modern day. It's just not quite right. So we address that through a few different items, but most important is we have a group of moms who they just make just a little more money and they're not eligible for the Granted Advantage, which is the Medicaid expansion program. So this allows us to take those moms who only had prenatal care or postnatal or postpartum care for 60 days. They now have it for 365 days. So if you're a mom that's been struggling with addiction, with depression, who has had a postpartum healthcare related issue that they can't resolve in 60 days, they now have a whole year for continuous care. We're setting these families off on the right track. And I'll be introducing this year, sadly, with the departure of Senator Whitley, I'm going to be the prime sponsor of Momnibus 2.0. And we're going to be focusing on our gaps in maternity access throughout the state. Thank you.
We have a second question I think we have time for, which is how have you worked to protect lakes and watersheds in our region?
Great, thanks. Another great question, hot and important topic. I was fortunate enough to work with the wonderful Representative Rosemary Rung from Merrimack. She is a champion for our lakes and for our water bodies, our lakes and our ponds throughout the state. And together in my first term, and then we flipped it into the second, we co-sponsored a law that passed that required a cyanobacteria plan. It's because this is a large issue through all of our bodies of water, and it is making them not only they're unsafe for humans, they're unsafe for our pets, they're a true threat to our water systems. So we got that passed, and then we went back to actually get some money, some funding to activate that plan. So that is one way that I've worked with a member of the House, and she also, she knew that up here in this part of the state, we have equally as important bodies of water that need protection have been highlighted with concerns about cyanobacteria. So that's one of the ways that I've worked. Thank you.
Great.